Hello, YouTube. Welcome to a new series we're going to be doing. This is going to be called Beast or Released, and we are going to go over the 3 starter Pokemon of Gen 9 today.
Let's go.
I got Nathan here with me, and let's get into it. First, we're going to be talking about Sprigatito.
See, I have some very strong opinions on Sprigatito, so I'll let you go first so
Okay.
I don't influence yours, and then we'll talk about it.
Okay, so Sprigatito, it's the grass starter for Gen 9.
Yeah, the category is the grass cat Pokemon.
It is a cat, yes.
Yeah.
So, first off, visual appearance-wise, it is very similar to some other starters.
Yeah.
As a lot of fans have pointed out, it's not a very strong visual appearance, I would say. It's definitely one of the weaker ones, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's not to spoil the review of the other two, but I think this is my least favorite. That's not a fair comparison, though, except for Turtwig in Gen 4. And I guess Gen 8? Yes, Gen 8 with
Grookey?
What was it? Grookey. The grass starter is never my favorite starter. It's usually my least favorite if I have to.
Yeah.
Like Bulbasaur's my least favorite, Chikorita's my least favorite. So, I mean,
I definitely share that same opinion too. I think Turtwig was the only one that I would consistently pick.
Yes.
In terms of grass type. Although I did like Snivy.
I don't like Snivy. Snivy is not one of my favorites. But in terms of looking at Sprigatito, it has Overgrow like every single other grass starter.
Right.
Pretty much, right? To me, it looks very happy and easygoing and things like that, comparatively to a couple of the other starters that we've had that have been grass starters, where they sometimes look a little bit more off-putting. Like Snivy to me, decently off-putting. I don't know. I really don't like Chikorita. Rowlet to me, super overrated. I don't like Rowlet. So
now the thing is, I never actually played that generation. I know.
Yeah.
But I think I would have picked Rowlet just because Decidueye is Grass Ghost, and that's the most unique thing a grass type has been in all the Pokemon generations. So, I mean, I guess we'll have to wait and see till we get more information right now. Because as of right now, it's just grass type. We don't know anything about the evolutions, what it's going to turn into. There's only speculation so far.
Yeah, and going off of Pokemon's website, which we were looking at in researching this, it talks about how Sprigatito is going to rub its paws together and it's going to mesmerize people around it, or other Pokemon, I guess, would be around it with a sweet aroma.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, it sounds like we were talking about this before we ever even had the idea for this video, that you were thinking it's going to be more of like the infatuation attraction.
Yeah, I think it's going to be fairy type. That they're going to turn this into a fairy type Pokemon just because of that description that they have on the Pokemon website right now.
Yeah, and my initial response was it was like a poison type, almost like kind of like oddish, and it knows sweet scent. So I was thinking that like it's going to bring back that mechanic where sweet scent, where you can attract Pokemon to you and do things like that.
And that's unique too, or not really unique, but it's reused a lot because I know like Pokemon like Victory Bell, their poison is considered a sweet scenting poison.
Yeah.
So.
And personally, I hope I'm wrong. And
I hope you're wrong too
about it being a fairy type.
Yeah, because they do so many grass poison types. It's just redundant at this point.
So lame.
Yes.
And it's like we're at a new gen. Fairy might actually be useful, especially with looking at it looks like the legendaries are actually going to be dragon types. And so to me, a fairy typing, especially because besides Primarina as the final evolution,
that's the only other fairy type. Yep.
It's the only fairy type. So I think it'd be a lot of fun to have a grass fairy to get that started off, because
I think that's the only saving grace for Sprigatito, because I know a lot of fans are upset with this one, and this is probably going to be the least favorite of the 3.
Yes, I know people. Sprigatito is the one that everyone has been like, they either love it right now and they're going to love it regardless, or they're pretty anti-Sprigatito.
Right.
And if you haven't figured it out, we are not very pro Sprigatito between the
Right.
two of us here.
Let's go over what the description that Pokemon gives regarding this Pokemon. It may even be the Pokedex entry for Sprigatito. So it says capricious and attention seeking. It may sulk if it sees its trainer giving attention to Pokemon other than itself.
So what do you think about this description?
I think it's just going to be a little needy bitch Pokemon, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, it's a cat, though. It's kind of what cats do. Like,
True.
Cats, they don't necessarily want your love. They just don't want you to love anyone else but them, right?
Right.
To me, it feels like it's going to be a very selfish Pokemon. And I feel like it's going to, like, you brought up Snivy before. I feel like it's going to have, like, the same type of attitude as Snivy. A little different way it goes about it. But yeah, it's very needy, and I do not like Pokemon usually that have this kind of description. I like the more lovable, get to like hang out, play with them kind of idea Pokemon. So we'll see with Sprigatito how it goes.
All right. So final thoughts. Let's hear: is it a beast or a released, in your opinion, Nathan?
Based upon what we know about it right now, if it's a poison grass type in its final evolution, I don't care what it looks like, auto release. If I take this as my starter, I will instantly release it as soon as I catch the very first Pokemon in the first route, which we'll get to in another video, by the way.
Right.
Which isn't a fair comparison because that is arguably my favorite Pokemon of all time, and I haven't even seen it in a game yet.
That's very interesting opinion.
But this thing needs to get released right away. Yeah, if it's a fairy type, I'll give it a shot. I will give it a shot. But it's still going to be my third pick for the starter. Just looking at it, its design is uninspired. It's just green. No thanks. I'll take a pass. Released.
As for me, I'm going to have to say released as well. Like you said, like I've said, if it's Grass Fairy, that's going to be its only saving grace. And I hope it does turn into that because I feel like that's going to bring a lot of fans back.
Yeah, you're definitely correct on that. So I say we revisit these back when when the games come out. And,
that'd be a good idea.
We'll see how we did on our predictions of this.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then once we learn more information about these, we might do another one on their final evolutions or their middle stage evolutions for the same.
Yeah, we could definitely revisit this one.
Yes, sir.
But I think that's going to do it for Sprigatito. Let's go ahead and move on to the next starter.
Yeah.
Go for it.
So moving on from Sprigatito, the next Pokemon we're going to be looking at is Fuecoco, the new fire starter. He's listed as the Fire Croc Pokemon, and might I add, he's adorable.
For sure.
His Pokédex, well, not his for sure Pokédex entry, what we are assuming will be his Pokédex entry, or at least something related to it, is Fuecoco is laid back and does things at its own pace. It loves to eat. It will sprint toward any food it finds with a glint in its eye. This thing is adorable. This might be the cutest starter we've had in years.
Yeah.
But
I don't know about that.
I don't think he's as cute as Grookey, but that's not really a fair comparison, to be honest. But I love this guy. The single tooth in the center biggle with a little...
Right.
Oh, adorable.
I think just based off of that alone is why I'm going to choose him when this generation eventually comes out. I'm not a big fan of the other two, and I think like just based off the description that they've given us so far, I figured it would have been your go-to as well. But I guess that's not the case. But we'll talk about that later.
Get to that.
Yeah.
But
this is definitely what I would choose, just based off visual appearance and how adorable he looks in the trailers that we've received so far.
Yes. So I will say you would be correct if there wasn't for one slight difference. In every single other gen, if this was the fire starter, I'd pick him.
And
so
with me too,
I
my favorite has almost always been the fire type. So
yeah,
even like last generation, I loved Scorbunny more than any of them. Just his whole evolution line was awesome. I think it was very relevant to the region that they were in.
Yeah.
And he was my go-to. I'd pick Sobble too, and I didn't have as fun with him as I did with Scorbunny. And then, of
Yeah.
course, Chimchar, I choose him. Torchic, Firefighting, that's one of my favorite combinations right there for a
Hmm.
starter.
Yeah.
Um, even like Cyndaquil, even though he was just fire, like I
Yeah.
liked him more than the other two. So
Yeah.
he's going to be my favorite pick so far. We'll have to
That's
see
fair.
when we get more information what I eventually decide to choose, but right now I'm thinking Fuecoco.
Yeah, I think one of the main factors driving me away from fake Fuecoco, even though, and no spoilers, but I really do like Fuecoco. I was talking about it. I think the thing that's driving me most away from it is that a lot of people love Fuecoco, and so
Right.
it's
Well, a
the.
lot of people love Quaxly too, and we'll get to that a little bit more, but
We'll get to that, but I'm saying out of our group of friends that we're going to be playing with, hopefully we'll be able to play on this channel together, depending on how the overworlds stuff works, but we'll
yeah,
get to that.
we'll have to see how that
um,
works.
but I'm thinking I'm going to pick Quaxley because I think I'm the person who feels most strongly about that, but Fuecoco is a great choice. Like, I would
Right.
never be like, how dare you, if anyone
Yep.
chooses Sprigatito, I'm going to be having words with them a little bit. Like, you're dumb with these other two great, arguably great all-time designs right next to it, and you're like, I want the green cat, you know.
I don't
So
think anybody's going to be saying that, but
yeah, no. So we'll see.
all right. I'm going to
So
go over a little bit more information that Pokemon has provided us.
yeah,
So there is a little entry here. Scales that absorb heat. External heat is absorbed by the square scales on Fuecoco's stomach and back, then converted into fire energy. These scales are always warm, and at times they can also grow very hot. So we did a little bit of speculation with Sprigatito and its evolution line, and I think we should do that here with
yeah,
Fuecoco as well. Just based off of him being a fire crocodile and
yeah.
that he's going to have these scales, I'm thinking he might become a fire dragon, and that would be very interesting for.
Fire dragon.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a first for Pokemon. They're going to do a dragon evolution line.
I get where you're going with that, but it's a ghost type, right? Like, it has to be a ghost type.
What makes you think that?
It's a ghost pepper.
Is it really?
It's based on a ghost pepper. If they make a ghost pepper crocodile and turn it into a dragon type instead of a ghost type, I'm gonna be shocked. If this thing comes out as fire dragon, I don't want it, like, ever. Like, it. That's not a type I really want. Like, no, thank you.
I honestly would be very surprised if they go with that, but maybe you're right. Maybe you have a point there. I
Fire
didn't know it was based
ghost.
off of a ghost pepper.
Yeah, fire ghost to me. If this thing comes out fire ghost and the typing for Quaxley comes out, it is extremely underwhelming for me, which we'll get to that. We will get to that, don't you worry. If this is fire ghost and Quaxley's like water fighting, or some lame type like that, uh we'll see how useful it is, but I might have to pick Fuecoco. um but if it's fire dragon, I'm entirely out on
Oh,
Fuecoco,
really?
because the design path for a fire dragon to me doesn't fit where they are right now with this prevo, with this first stage starter. I
Interesting.
will, yeah, like that. If it, depending on its type, it'll change entirely whether or not I think this is a great
Right.
starter, a mid starter if it's not that, or if it's fire dragon, there's arguably this might be the worst starter. If Sprigatito is grass fairy and this is fire dragon, I might pick Sprigatito over this. Like, that's how much I do not want the dragon.
Dang. Oh, well, I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah.
But overall, I mean, whether it's a fire dragon or it's going to be fire ghost, for me, both of those sound okay. I think I'd be
Hmm.
willing to go with that. But overall, with all the information that we have right now, I'm going to say Fuecoco is a beast for me.
Yeah. I think so. I think there's two major factors that determine to me whether or not Fuecoco is going to be the best or the worst starter of this generation. And I think it's typing, which I talked about, whether or not it's ghost or dragon is its second type,
It
or
could be
if it's
something
some
totally
third.
different, too.
Yeah, if it's something completely different from that, we will have to be out, and we'll revisit that when we revisit this
Right.
video once we know
Right.
more information about it. But to me, that's the main factor. The second factor is going to go back to some speculation that I'm thinking when it says with absorbing the heat with its scales, and then its scales are always hot. I think this might have Flame Body as its hidden ability, because clearly it has Blaze because it's a fire starter. But
Right.
if Flame Body is its hidden ability, then I think that this thing could be insanely good. That if it has Flame Body and the Dragon Second type, I think I can forgive it a little bit more. But Flame Body with a Ghost type, I might pick this starter. So to me, those factors, depending on those things, it could be anywhere from the ace of my team to I would never touch this with a 10-foot pole. So I'm going to go conservatively here and say it's gonna be I'm gonna think it's the ghost type, so I'm gonna go beast.
Okay.
But if this is a dragon type and doesn't have flame body, this thing's released. Like there's no way it's on my team. So I think I think it should be a beast. They have a slam dunk here in terms of a Pokemon going forward. But let's see if they actually take the slam dunk or if they fumble the bag. So
All right, let's go ahead and move on to our last Pokemon.
And now on to my favorite starter of this gen. This is a great Pokemon. His name is Quaxly with an X in it. It's and a Q. Very odd letters to have in a Pokemon name. Great. He's the Duckling Pokemon. He has Torrent because he's a water starter. And let's read his what we think is going to be the Pokedex entry based upon what Pokemon has released so far. This serious mannered Pokemon will follow in its trainer's wake. It's tidy and it especially dislikes getting its head dirty. So, based on the description, this would usually not be the Pokemon that I go for. I talked
Right.
about how I don't like Prim, I don't like Proper,
Right,
but
exactly.
it's a freaking pirate duck.
I mean, if we were going on description alone, I definitely think you would take Fuecoco,
100%.
as I've mentioned already.
It's a pirate duck. What else does it need to do? It doesn't need to do anything else. I don't care what its typing is. We'll get into that. I don't care what it looks like. It's a cute little pirate duck.
I honestly think that right now this might be the fan favorite, but I'm not entirely sure. It's going to be close between Fuecoco and Quaxly.
I think Quaxly is the favorite based upon how it looks right now, and Fuecoco is the favorite based upon the potential it has. So seeing it as a Pokemon in terms of a evolution line, Fuecoco is definitely the favorite. When you're looking at cuteness, look at Quaxly and tell me he is not one of the cutest starters we've ever had.
I definitely agree. I think you're right on that. Especially, I think Fuecoco is probably going to be the fan favorite as well, only because Quaxly, like, he is cute. Don't get me wrong there. He's very cute. The only thing is, he seems to be like a repetition of what they've done in the past. There's Pokemon that already look similar to this. We've had so many different water birds. We have Ducklet, which is another duck. We have Psyduck, another duck. He's not flying type, but he is a duck. And we have Wingull, same color scheme.
Yeah, but he's the best one. If you look at all those, I think he's the cutest. Because he's very close with Psyduck. He and Psyduck, in terms of their cuteness levels, are going to be similar. Psyduck's personality is what usually gets it more about it being confused,
Right,
and
right.
so depending on how Quaxly's personality turns out, it could be the shift between whether or not it's the fan favorite or the not. But from the trailer of the thing of it jumping in the water and flipping its hair and having the little hat, it's adorable. Like hands down,
Yeah, I agree with you on there.
the main issue that I see with Quaxly, which it can never make it so that I won't pick it on my on the first run through, but it may make me not pick it on consecutive run throughs or like replays, things like that. Is its typing. We have no clue where this is going to go, right? It's a bird, so could it be a flying type? It's talks about how it kicks a lot and has strong and swift kicks, so it could be a fighting type. To me, the way the path it's going down, it's like very cleanliness based, that if it gets to the point where it's going to be like unclean and unkept and its hair gets all messed up, it could become a dark type because it goes crazy off of this. It could be an ice type, which would be so cool to finally have like an ice type, especially if your dragon pick is right. I think the ice type makes a lot more sense
Yeah,
there.
definitely.
I mean, it makes it super weak to a lot of things, and so its typing in terms of actually usability isn't as good. But I like the concept of it becoming like a frozen ice, because it talks about how if
If
its hair gets out of place, he hates it. So if it gets frozen, so his hair can't move at all and it can't become unkept at all, to me that just sounds like a good progression of like the actual line.
right,
But it's got to be one of those types, right?
if it is water ice, that's going to be a really strong Pokemon because the water ice types that we have already tend to be super strong. But
I mean, think about like Lapras. Lapras is a
yeah,
fan favorite.
exactly.
Like it removes its weaknesses to what? Rock there
Yeah.
and fire,
hmm
because yeah.
If
So
it
it's like
if it goes in that direction, it might become my favorite choice too.
yeah.
But we'll have to see. And you're definitely right about the uncertainty we have as far as its evolution line. I'm thinking maybe it might be Steel type because you kind of look at him. We're thinking that this is going to be set in the Iberian region, a Pokemon, so the equivalent to the Iberian region. So he
Yeah.
could be some type of conquistador or like a Don Quixote type character, where he's going to be like some sort of swordsman. So I could see it being Steel type. That would be interesting too. But
I like that better than the
we
ice
already
type,
have
personally.
Empoleon though, so that's the only thing is like they've done that before too.
Yes, but the Empoleon, and if you're saying this is a conquista, the only issue I could see is that having a literal sword could be a little bad for like a kid's game. But say like its wings develop into like
Yeah.
a blade.
No, yeah,
or
it can do that
whatever,
too, for sure.
almost like its wings become almost like what, Skarmory esque, where they become like it's a, yeah, I could see that, where it's like a bird that's like a steel type,
Yeah.
no flying type. I don't know. I like it. I haven't thought about that typing before. That's a good one.
And we'll just have to wait and see on that. And then we'll come back to this video again once we have more information regarding that. Let's go over the last little bit of information that Pokemon has provided us with us.
Yeah.
A glossy gel protects its body. So its body is always glossy because the gel secreted by its feathers repels water and grime. The coif on its head is slickened back using a rich, moist cream, and it becomes unkempt when dry. You mentioned this a little bit already.
Yeah.
But we're trying to figure out what kind of hidden ability it might have.
Yeah.
And it's kind of important because usually, like Pokemon Home, they'll give away the hidden ability forms of them. So, what are you thinking regarding that?
I don't know.
I'm thinking it could be Swift Swim, but it kind of depends on its typing too.
Yes, because if you bring up the steel typing, if it could have levitate as an ability, so it removes like a weakness to ground from the steel type, that could be fun. Or something with like if the ice typing, maybe like, is sheer cold? Is that an ability? Or
Yes,
is that
it is. Well, no, that's a move. That's a move.
Okay, but something like that where like it has a higher chance to freeze Pokemon, or like I don't know, going off of basically from what we've seen from the other two starters so far, if we're thinking Flame Body for Fuecoco, and if we go with that trend, it'd probably like what, Cute Charm, which is I think, is it Clefable? Wigglytuff? One of those two has it, where like when Pokemon touch it, it becomes like infatuated or whatever. I think that would fit with Sprigatito's evolution. So if they went with that like similar, almost like poison points kind of idea, but like for each of the types, where like they have the ability to inflict like a status effect or like the infatuation or stuff on another Pokemon when it gets touched, that could be really interesting in terms of what it could do in the sphere of having a starter that can also be like your status Pokemon,
right?
Which could be really interesting to me.
Yeah, I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Like we said, it's all speculation right now. The only thing we're going off of right now is visual appearance, typing, initial typing.
Yeah.
Some of the descriptions they've gave us and information. You can find this all on Pokemon.com. They have a specific Scarlet Violet portion of their website, and basically that's what we're going over right now. So you can check that out at any time. Just based off of the info they've provided us, though, Nathan, what would you say this is a beast or a release for you?
I mean, to be entirely biased on this pick, Quaxly is a beast. He will forever be a beast. I don't care what he turns up looking like. If his future evolutions are terrible, I will get him to level 100, continually hitting B, so I have a level 100 Quaxly in my party. Like, I don't care. This is my starter. Like, there's nothing that's going to change my mind at this point. Unless they give him like normal type as his second typing, I will pick Quaxly 100% of the time for my first run through. Second run through, Fuecoco might have some go.
Right.
We'll see. Sprigatito could surprise me if I really like the way its final evolution looks and everything like that. But right now, Quaxly is a beast of a Pokemon. 100%. He's my ace.
I think I'm going to have to agree with you on this one. I'm going to say Quaxly is a beast as well. They could take it many different directions, but I feel like almost any combination that they can do with water is going to turn out to be very strong.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, the one thing I'm looking at is, has there ever been a bad water type starter? Not like mediocre. We've had mediocre water type starters. I'm looking at you, Sobble.
Right.
But
right.
I feel like they understood that was their worst water type they've ever made, because Poplio is amazing. You have Squirtle, one of the all-time famous Pokemon. You have Mudkip is great. Like, you look through all of these and it's like, I mean, Piplup, iconic. And then you had Sobble in the last generation.
Basically what they're doing is they're shifting it from water to grass this time around.
Yes. And so we're going to see, but I think that this is going to restore their streak of water types being consistently the best type starter, and I don't see how they can fail with Quaxly. I say that now, fully knowing that when we revisit this video, that I'm gonna look like a fool because they screwed up Quaxly and I hate it or whatever.
But I hope you're wrong, but we'll just have to wait and see, honestly.
Yeah. One last thing before we go. Put in the comments, because we want to see which of the 3 starters currently, when you're watching this video, are you going to pick and why? Because it's not just what you're going to pick. The reason why you pick is more important, because like we were saying, usually I'd pick Fuecoco, but Pirate Duck, like things like that. And it could be just as simple as that, but just throw it in the comments. We'd love to hear what you guys are seeing as your favorite, or in reaction to any of the speculation, what you think about the typings, anything, throw it in there.
Yeah.
We'd love to hear what you guys have to say.
Yep.
We're brand new to this. We've been Pokemon fans for a long time, but
as
we're
you
brand
can
new to this. Yeah, but we are brand new to this type of video and this whole format. So leave any suggestions you have in the comments below, and we're going to read through all of them.
Definitely, for sure. Anyway,
I think that's going to do it for
that's going to do it
right?
for us, guys. Thank you for sticking around as long as you have. If you enjoyed this series, this is just the beginning. So if you would like, you can go ahead and leave any suggestions you have for us in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you can see more of these types of videos in the future. And that's going to do it for now. We'll catch you guys later.